Hey guys, my name is Rod Jeter, and in today's video I will show you how to play YBAngry step by step to settle most any disagreement you have with the one you love in just minutes without all the stress and drama. Inside the game there are two cards, the This One Issue card and the This One Detail card. Remove one This One Issue card and several This One Detail cards from the game. To start the game, the couple or the two players must decide on an issue or a disagreement to settle. For example, should we buy a car, or should you clean the bathroom? This game has worked over and over again, and it can certainly work for you. There's just a couple requirements. First, both players must want to be in the relationship. Secondly, one or both players must be able to do something to settle the agreement. And lastly, both players must be honest about the issue. So let's get started. Take the This One Issue card and write the issue in the form of a yes or no question in the issue question section. For example, should we buy a car? Next, the players must agree on who's going to be player A and who's going to be player B for the entire game. Now let's move to the This One Detail cards, where all the magic happens. Each player should take several cards and document all the details that support their position on the issue. First, each player is going to fill out sections 1, 2, and 3 on one This One Detail card. It is very, very important to have only one detail per card. You can use as many cards as you need to cover all the details that you have to support your position on this issue. Write your detail in step 1. Circle player A or B, whichever you are, and then in step 3, you need to write a number stating how relevant this detail is to the issue, with 10 being the highest. It's very important not to duplicate numbers. You cannot have 2 9s or 2 10s. Decide which one is more relevant. Make one an 8.5, one a 9.5. So, for example, I may say this card is broken down 3 times in the last 2 months. I may circle A because I'm player A, and I might write a 10 in section 3 because that's most relevant to me. Then I will take additional cards and I will fill out one card for every detail that I have to support my position on this issue. Steps 1 through 3 on each card will be filled out to support my position on the issue. Remember, just one detail per card. I may have another detail that says this car has 600,000 miles on it, and that may be a 9 to me. I may have another detail that says this car is 40 years old, and that may be an 8.5 for me. Once both players have finished filling out sections 1 through 3 on all the detail cards to support their position, put all the cards together for both players, mix them up, and rank them in order of relevance, 10 being highest and first, 0s being lowest and last. By far, most of the games that I have recorded were settled on the first card. So, if you want your relationship to work, if you're honest, and if you can count to 14, I'm confident you can win the game. Next, take the card that is most relevant. There's probably a 10 or a 9 in the stack. The player that wrote that card will tell the other player what they wrote and how relevant this detail is to them. For example, this card is broken down 3 times in the last 2 months, and that is a 10 to me. Now please note, no matter what player you are, A or B, if you wrote the detail, you will also handle all the other steps on this side of the card. The other player will handle the steps on the back side of the card. Now that you've told the other player your detail and how relevant it is to you, hand the card to the other player so that they can handle step 4 on the back side of the card. Now in step 4, it is very important for the other player not to argue or debate the writer's detail. Here all we want to do is confirm what the writer has written. We do this by saying, what you're saying to me is, and then tell the writer what you believe they mean in your own words. You will move to step 5 and follow up by asking, is that right? Hopefully you'll get a yes. You have to repeat steps 4 and 5 until you can check yes in the box. I believe these are the most important steps in the game. Here we accomplish 2 things. First, the writer feels heard, and now they are open to hear your response. Secondly, when you respond, you can respond to what the writer actually means, not to something that you had in your head. Now that you understand what the other player means, move to step 6 and circle whether you believe this detail is or is not true. In step 7, write a number 0 through 10, representing how relevant you think this detail is if it were true. In step 8, staying focused to this one detail, write down a response to the writer. Then tell the writer what you wrote and pass the card to the writer so that they can do step 9 on their side of the card. At step 9, now it is time for the original writer to make sure they understand the other player's response. Remember, there's no attacking or defending. Just make sure you understand what the other player means. You can do this by saying, what you're saying to me is, and then finish the sentence with what you think the other player means. Follow up with step 10 by asking, is that right? Just like the other player, you have to repeat steps 9 and 10 until you can check yes in the box. Now that we are clear on what the writer means and what the other player meant by their response, we can have a focused discussion and debate. For success, you must stay focused on this detail as it relates to the issue. Once you have both said your piece, flip the card over so the other player can fill out section 12. Here, you will write anything you learned or realized from this interaction. It really helps you to win if you can start by saying, I feel better because, and finish the sentence. Now tell the original writer what you wrote and hand them the card so they can handle step 13 on their side of the card. At step 13, the writer of this detail would do the same thing that the other player did in step 12. Start with, I feel better because. As you can imagine, it is hard to resolve a disagreement if you can't even agree on the details. If this is the case, watch what to do when we can't agree on the facts. Step 14 is on the writer's side of the card, but it does require both players to agree, yes or no. First, was there any progress with this detail? And secondly, was there enough progress to end the game? If that answer is yes, congratulations. You both and your relationship have won the game. If the answer is no, simply move to the next most relevant detail card and follow steps 1 through 14 until you have won the game. Have fun and stay together.